Hello and welcome to This Contains Garlic. You're here with your host Georgia Garlic
Mark Garlic.
and we are back, and today we are going to start off the episode by, I guess it sounds like she's dead, but I guess it's a dedication to one of our clients, our very long-term clients who I just had an honour of, I guess, supporting and being by the side of at her wedding as her bridesmaid. So I think it's really important that when we talk about the client, Monika, that we're going to talk about, we actually first of all say that she probably is the best representation of our coaching business that you could probably get. I think, Mark, you agree with that.
Yeah.
Monika was I should say a woman. I always say girl because women sound sometimes a bit weird. Is a woman that obviously came to us in a lot of need to completely transform herself, physically, mentally, and also emotionally, and to get herself into a position where she lived a happier and healthier lifestyle. And I think she exceeded that through and through, and she continues to do so. Myself and Mark talk about this a lot because, to be honest with you, it is really rare to come across individuals like Monika, especially as a coach. Forget all of her kind generosity and the kind of person that she is outside of us coaching her. It's like a shooting star amongst space. It sounds
A
ridiculous. Yeah, but it does, because I think you've got somebody that comes on.
Oh, yeah, her level of application from the word go was unbelievable, and has her overall level of consistency just from a
Coaching point, yeah.
standpoint has been outstanding. And we're talking about somebody who had their back up against the wall and made a massive lifestyle U-turn in a matter of months, years.
Yeah.
And has remained, very consistent and continues to prioritize her training and nutrition.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And I think, I feel kind of, Monika reached out to me probably, 5 or 6 years ago. Must have been
Yeah,
2000.
when we were in Cape Town.
No, it's just before Cape Town, I think. No, it was the first year we were in Cape Town. It was, so 2018.
Well, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so she reached out to me, and it was via my Instagram, and I think her message read something along the lines of, I feel quite comfortable like messaging you, asking you for help. And I think, as myself and Mark have always said, I think the last couple of years with our kind of social vibe, we kind of withdrew our personalities a little bit. I don't know really why. I think just life kind of pushed us in a weird way, in some weird way or another. But, I've always wanted people to actually see just like how much that we can help you and help people navigate through like really shit situations and come out really successful at the end of it. And I think I come back time and time again as to the reason why I do what I do on a day-to-day basis, primarily from the fact that I came from a really shit position and I worked really fucking hard to get to where I am today. And I've only ever wanted other people who were in my situation to never have to go through what I went through and to be that guiding light. And I think when we came together, with Mark's expertise, like we created something which truly did change and has changed so many people's lives. And I think if we come back to Monika, it was just one of those moments where you're standing there like, fuck, like, I don't know, like maybe this is probably the only time I think my whole career, I don't know, working with somebody that's well known or being in a magazine or doing like that, in a sense of like coach to client, this is probably the proudest I probably ever have been with the client's like change.
Yeah, rightfully so, because it's people really underestimate how involved we as a coaching business get involved in not people's lives, but like how you become such an integral part of people's day-to-day existence with regards to the way they eat, the way they move their body. You become a unbiased soundboard of knowledge that you can help people through relatable points in their life.
I think also I just want to interrupt that Monika didn't come via like, she actually first did sign up as an online client, but actually we train Monika virtually, which means technically it's us training you face to face, and she trains with us 5 times a week and has done for how many years? 4 or 5 years
4 or
now.
5
So,
years,
you know, that's just the fact that you probably would be like, how do we know these people
Yeah,
so well?
yeah.
I guess that kind of just puts a little bit
so
of
I guess
context.
it's like personal training.
It's personal training. And, you know, I think both of us have been blessed with very special relationships with clients throughout. You're
Yeah,
always going to
always,
meet
always.
some people in the mix where you just go, actually, like, we definitely could be friends, or like, you know what I mean? And actually, like,
And the
that's
thing is,
wonderful
people,
thing.
Yeah, and people generally can like or disregard the kind of business as a personal trainer or in an online space, but you grow bonds with individuals that most people around them don't grow, and like it sometimes perplexes people when you're in social settings and people are treating you a certain way, and then other people are like, sorry, excuse me, who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm X, Y, and Z, and you can just see them just like so baffled.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say that at the wedding, obviously, I had like kind of like 2 ways that I knew Monika.
I mean,
'cause
you
it was
were a
like,
bridesmaid. So
yeah, I was. But obviously, people were like, "Who is this girl?" Like, I was the one thing.
So random.
The one thing is that like her wedding, not only was it absolutely fucking beautiful, in every single way, like it was just beautiful. The thought, the detail, the planning, it was immaculate. Like, which Monika is as a person, like, you know, in the sense of how she does everything, is how that wedding obviously shone through as well. And also, I think what was really nice is Monika's been very international the whole of her life because of where her parents either lived or throughout school years or wherever. She knows a lot of people from different international countries. So I was probably, I think, the only British person there, but we had people from Venezuela, Mexico, Ecuador, Germany, Switzerland, like France, like, and it was just like, oh my God, why am I not fucking bilingual? That's all I came away from the wedding. I was like, fuck, I am dumb. Like, that's the only thing. I was like, I have so much respect, because it became a bit of an on-running joke with all the speeches that technically I helped a lot of the family that were doing speeches make sure that their English read like on the English speaking part, because a lot of it was split between Italian and English because our husband's Italian. And so they just wanted to make sure that obviously it didn't sound like a Google Translate vibe. So we were going through everyone's speeches and like more and more like, you know,
Did you bring out your horrific French accent?
Do you know what? First of all, I'm speaking Italian, so I didn't need to come out with some cunty comment like that, did you, Mark? And that's the reason why you weren't with me by the wedding, wasn't it?
Please say something.
Oh, okay. How about you say something in French? Oh, wait, all you speak is fucking African. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised you can even string a British sentence together. Jesus, don't even get me started. You're just ruining the vibe, do you know what I mean? Because you're being aggressive and rude, do you know what I mean? Just rude, like so rude. But no, I mean, we were doing obviously all the speeches and stuff to make sure that obviously they read in proper English. And, you know, another side note is that obviously myself and Mark also coach her mum and have done for years as well. Her mum came on board when probably Monika was like, maybe like a year or so into coaching.
No,
maybe less.
I would say it wasn't. It was like 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah, and she came from a different back point in the sense of standpoint.
She had very bad sciatica, shoulder
Mark,
impingement.
Mark, for fuck's sake, it's not a doctor's...
No, I'm just giving you a different context, okay? Stop being rude and aggressive, Georgia, because that's very rude.
Oh my God,
to
honestly,
interrupt me when
I'm so glad
talking.
we had time apart from each other.
Yeah, I'm sure there was, you know, everyone was very bubbly and happy.
No, but like, it was... Maria's obviously been a client of ours for years, so it was actually, weirdly enough, like obviously we've met Monika in person a few times. I've been to obviously Italy to see her. She's come to London before, but we'd actually never met Maria in the flesh.
Yeah.
And so to meet her mum, which obviously we get on so well, it was also amazing, which is weird because obviously you've literally seen each other every single week.
Yeah.
You know, they're the kind of clients that train when they're away, they're on holiday. You see them in all these different locations, do you know what I mean? But you've never actually physically seen them in flesh.
Them, yeah.
But it was exactly the same. The relationship we have virtually was exactly the same in person. And the same with, you know, we've coached their sisters on and off as well. And I think just to see everybody come together, you know, you had all of like like her mum's side is Mexican, so you had all of this amazing Mexican side that had travelled all the way across and had that really strong cultural vibe of Mexican as well, which was obviously super fun. And yeah, I mean, like, look, like to stand by somebody's side who's you've like obviously coached, and I guess I probably know the best out of anybody in Monika's life. It, you know, as I said, was probably the proudest moment I've had as a coach. And I think even though Monika probably looks back at this time and is like, oh, so many amazing memories, like, thank you for being there. I think it's also that thing of like, you know, these things don't necessarily happen every day in any sense. And I just want to, you know, to be in the position that Monika was in on her wedding day, like, if you had met the girl that she was, you know, 5 years ago, to see her in that position, happily getting married to somebody that loved her and that she started to really love herself and to, you know, developed into that person, you're kind of like, I guess you've coached all the way through it. You're just like, wow, like, fuck, like, sometimes you have to sit back. And there's one thing that I was trying to do as much as possible, though, was to be a little bit more present. I feel like sometimes with our jobs, like, and the way that we're online and stuff like that, like sometimes you're just not very present in situations. You're just like overthinking about a number of different things because we're so connected to people, you know, like whether it's via...
Did you not overthink anything whilst you're away?
The first like day, like obviously it's hard. Like, you know, you had to take over full client check. It's like, I don't like letting like responsibilities slide like in any way, but I'm also like, you know, I wouldn't have been in the position I was if I hadn't worked very, very hard with a client, do you know what I mean, to get her to the position she was. And like, do I think that anybody outweighs that? No, I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like, you know, I should be like there and supportive and in the moment and present because, you know, that's a huge fucking moment of somebody's life that they ever guess you trusted with you to be by their side, you know, and you're alongside, like I'm up front and center, like literally opposite them on the table. It's not like, and it's just crazy because I think this year, I think Mark will also agree, and we've had the last couple of years have been...
Would I ever disagree with you there?
You'd never disagree with me.
So.
Exactly, that's what marriage is like. I think we just had a lot of ups and downs, to say the least, stuff that we don't normally share in any way, shape or form. And like, I think going back to like working with clients like Monika, it kind of like puts things more into perspective of like how much some people can value you and do value you, and everything that you do, and there's nothing that they're not invested in, you know. And sometimes you've got to remember those situations because I think managing an online business where we haven't necessarily been able to know some clients as well as others, and you know, it's been hard for us because we've gone from a coaching business or a face-to-face business which has known literally the ins and outs of pretty much every client's life. Like we had, you know, very, very strong connections, and when you take yourself online, like, yeah, I'd say that maybe like 1 in 5, 1 in 10 you might start to have that connection with, but like, you know, you don't necessarily get into the nitty gritty, nor are you in a position to be able to, you know, take. So I guess it's one of these things where I think, you know, it's hard when you don't know people fully, when you really want to help them. And I think, and it also means that certain things are conversed in ways which wouldn't necessarily be the case if you were like face to face. And it's definitely been a challenging time where we've got two very different elements to what we do on a day-to-day basis.
I think the reality is trying to be like a personal trainer. Like I use that in a very loose term, but like a face-to-face service provider, and then try and implement that into, or try and replicate that through an online service is very
I think it's just very important to say that we physically can't represent under a personal trainer because what we are is a coach. Like we physically can't represent under somebody that just does an exercise class in a gym.
But I want
because
to use
it's got context
that people understand.
But people have to understand that it's a personal coach, it's not a personal trainer. Because why would you get into the depths of all this? Why would you guide people through their really hard struggling moments? Like why would you be that ally?
Well, just like,
and like as PTs, like
I think it's more like we're like more like mentors. I think a mentor
Yeah,
is
that's where
very
we've kind of succumbed. Like our career is kind of formed to as more mental in your overall health than it is, because it is quite
there's
hard
a
for people
very
to understand why.
like with the term mentoring, there's also like an association with nurturing an individual and like guiding them and helping them, which I feel like that is the vast majority of what we do on a daily basis with regards to our clients. And we guide them in the right direction, whether they like to hear it or not. We provide them with the best possible opportunity to see copious amounts of progress
And growth just in themselves, like,
and we care. We really do.
we do really
we
care.
really
Yeah.
do. And like, we're not just saying that for like a marketing clip. We actually do really value our clients' progression and seeing our clients reach and obtain their goals and push past it and be able to really unlock their true potential. And I don't think you can honestly find people that care as much as
I think, and this is
do.
like, I think it's just, and this is why I think so many people always wondered, like, what is the ongoings of our business on a day-to-day basis? Do you know what I mean? Like, we have fingers in a lot of holes. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? That's
My
what I guess.
favorite pastime.
That's a favorite past, but it's one of these things where when you take somebody through like these sort of journeys, and I think it's different for everybody, isn't it? Like, their context of what we do it's different for everybody, you know. I think it comes to a point where, you know, as I've always said, clients, I've always struggled, for example, with our business sense, with the online side, is actually like willingly wanting to like sell my business in some, I have like a weird reserving about it. And it's because I just like every client that we take on, which we have made errors in the last few years, I will not lie, like in fucking every sense, we have made errors. Like, we haven't managed to, on certain elements, we've fallen short, and it's picked up something which is not something that we necessarily wanted. And I will always be honest with that. And, you know, the clients that we have picked up that we do, you know, nurture and stuff like that, you know, we've always done far too much to what we've been paid for in every sense. And it's due to the fact, and that's why we take ourselves back to what we are and always have been, which is premium. And it's because it's personal and because we genuinely care. And for us to actually be in that position where you end up standing as a bridesmaid to somebody on their wedding. Do you know what I mean? That is what you are, and that's what you've got to represent. And I think it's very easy to slip into. And so when I say like I've struggled to sell it, it's because I want to work with people who know us, you know, have a willingness to commit, have a willingness to change. Because I genuinely, the minute you become a client and you have that willingness, my God, to myself and Mark go above and beyond. You know, we become the people that you've never had, do you know what I mean, to support you, you know. And as I've always said, like, where does that connection come? Like, no, we're not a PT on a fucking members gym, do you know what I mean, floor. We never have been. We've come from very small, bespoke elements where we have legitimately navigated every single client's life. And, you know, this is where we
people
come
just
to
don't
now.
understand. People just really don't understand. Like, when you get involved in this aspect of life, you end up at weddings, you end up at children's plays, you end up at sports day,
family dinners,
you end up on holiday,
funerals.
you end up at funerals, you end up at apart from like literally watching somebody give birth. I feel like that's probably the only exception which.
I've been
I'm sure
vaguely
close
to one of those. Not that the
surprised.
opposite side.
Somewhere in America or like LA where they've got the life coach holding the woman's hand, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's people just have struggled to understand that if you take a step back, how many people would you say you sit down with 3 to 4 to 5 hours a week for 60 to 90 minutes and have open and honest discussions numerous times per week? Let's say you train all year round, 48 weeks, you go on holiday and
Mark,
Christmas.
right, okay, babes, it's
Do you know
50.
what I mean?
Mark, you got the years.
You can just imagine how much time you get and spend with a person where you end up psychoanalyzing this person to the point where you understand them better than they understand themselves.
Yeah, and also I'd like to put it like we take it back to Monica. Like Monica, this is the longest we haven't trained with each other because she's in between obviously the wedding stuff, and that's a week. That's to put it into context over years, and this is in every country, when anywhere she's travelled, whatever hotel she is, whatever. We come with her, we're there, we coach her, she gets up, she does it. And this is one thing where I come to like recently, which I think, having spoken to or been involved with a couple of other coaches, I think is becoming quite a strong, resounding thing in many people's personal coaching business, is, I'll say it out loud, I have no time, zero time, and don't even think about inquiring in our business if you are like this. I have no time for people to blame their own fucking problems back on us or our business, okay? It does happen, and it happens, luckily for us, rarely. But when it does happen, I am, first of all, disappointed, and second of all, fucking just like, at what point does people have the audacity to turn their own problems and deflect their own problems back onto somebody that just is helping, you know, that you've hired to help?
Or
And you know,
put them down in the
we
process.
are very lucky it happens rarely, but when it does, it brings me back to the point. You are going to get nowhere in life, nowhere, no, not any element of life, if you are not willing to, one, unlearn something, and two, you're not willing to grow, you're not willing to change anything, because you need to be fucking uncomfortable. In order for you to make change, you need to be uncomfortable. How do you appreciate this change if you're never uncomfortable? You don't. And this is the one thing I realize time and time again, and what we work with our jobs, is I don't have sympathy for people that are too fucking lazy to do something. And the reality is there is a lot of people out there that are. I've been in a situation, oh fuck, I don't care, I'm just gonna eat loads of shit, I'll just drink loads, I'll just take loads of drugs, I'll be fine. Doesn't matter, doesn't fucking matter, until it does, do you know what I mean? And then you're pushed into that very uncomfortable situation where you've got no choice. You don't want to get to a position in life where you have no choice but to be uncomfortable. You need to take the steps forward to be uncomfortable in order to fucking grow. And like, I'm just seeing this resounding effect where, like, I'm straight to the point with this. I always have been with clients. You know, if you want to make progress and you want this to last, you need to actually be willing to commit, you know? And, you know, the thing is, though, no coach, nobody's a miracle worker in these situations. You know, it all does come to the application that is coming from you. You know, we can, as we always say, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. You know, so there are many humans out there that don't want to have help. You know, they might reach out, they might think they're ready for something, and they can't be asked. You know, but in those situations, you should always be self-aware, do you know what I mean? That it's actually you, it's nobody else, it's you. Because majority of the things in life that you can control come down to you and your actions, you know? At the end of the day, we always have a choice. We have a choice whether or not we sit in shit positions and mull in those. We have a choice to grow. There's certain situations that we can't control, whether that's somebody getting diagnosed or something in a family. You can't control that, you know? You can only try and control the emotions towards it to keep your life stable. But if you are in control of something and you sit there and deflect your problems onto other people, like, you need to start, as I've always said, look back in the mirror.
Yeah, look in the mirror.
Because, you know, I just, you know, I sit in these amazing situations, and as a coach who fucking really does care, and I've just expressed this, like, the proudest moment of my career literally happened this last weekend. But you also have these polar opposite fucking extremes, you know, where you just think, Jesus Christ, do you know what I mean? What a waste of my time.
But I just feel like that it's not a reflection on us, or it's a reflection on the individual trying to project their inadequacies onto you. And at the end of the day, like I say, who's going to have the last laugh? Because we provide a service that is unlike any other on an online service, and the only difference is we don't really push, like Georgia was saying, and market our business the way we should, essentially. But once people utilize the service, they realize how in-depth and how much we care and how much we get back to our clients and we look after our clients, so on and so forth, that...
Yeah, I mean, look,
You know,
like, I'm
and
not
then-
talking about anything like specific, but I just think it's one of these things that I've just seen like so frequently in other coaches who are just trying like to really fucking help people. Like, I know other coaches that are really fucking good, that, you know, especially ones that work with athletes or ones that work with bodybuilders who are very dedicated to their jobs. They have, or everyone has a different approach, but I'm just tired of, you know, people coming and then deflecting their own problems when actually the reality is if you
but
come
those
online, you
people are
don't
not gonna
know
get
somebody.
anywhere. Do you know how
They don't
you
get fuck ahead. They get
and
nowhere.
the thing with Monica is like, and I say this to every single client that we've ever worked with, how you do something is how you do everything.
Yep.
And the way Monica applied herself to her nutrition, to her training, to her steps, to her mental health, is the same way she applies that
to her
rigorous
job,
to her
who
job,
she's fucking successful
and to-
in. Her
exactly.
wedding planning, which was the most beautifully
every
fucking
aspect
well
of her
planned. Like, you
life
know,
runs
it's
in the same accordance. And when we work with people, and like I said, you spend so much time, you psychoanalyze everybody, and then you realize that certain elements of their training session will permeate into other aspects of their life. So if a person is sitting there and deflecting and trying to make, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I microbladed my eyebrow so I can't undergo body transformation. Yet 24 hours ago I was crying on the consultation saying my life's a mess. Do you know what I mean? Then that is just going to consistently permeate through that person's life. It's not like they're going to all of a sudden turn around and utilize a different coaching service or utilize a different whatever and then see progress. They're going to consistently just deflect their shortcomings.
and so they fucking should
and
be
their
miserable.
idleness.
I
And
don't care.
the thing is, like, we've gotten to the point where we're like, oh, you shouldn't call people lazy, but the reality is that there are some people that are just idle.
There is, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to do a Molly May like everyone's got the same 24 hours a day.
No.
We fucking don't. Do you know
No,
what I mean?
that's just
Everybody's got their
retarded.
own shit. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's got their own shit. We've
Yeah.
got tons of shite. We have so much shite that you will never see because we don't ever
Yeah.
expose it. The problem is I'm not coming from, as I've always said, I don't have money issues. I have a house over my head and I have an income and I have a good business and I'm very lucky to have a nice husband and a nice family. But the reality is that everybody has struggles, okay? But when you come to somebody to help for those struggles, like, how do you expect somebody to help you if you're not willing to help your fucking self? That's point one.
Exactly.
But I'm going to out this now because we did this year have a person that signed up, upfront client, somebody straight in, blocker, you know, straight in for the block, pumped, ready, stuff like that, whose excuse for needing a full refund and to end the coaching not even before we'd even managed to sit down, okay, and to actually give the programming
Literally.
is that she had a microblading appointment for her eyebrows, which means she was unable to sweat for 12 days afterwards, which meant she had to put off every single week of the program, and then that's why she requested a full refund. And this all came through on WhatsApp about 5:20 in the morning on a fucking Sunday, and it didn't just come via one message, it came via 85, where this woman went onto a fucking tirade, and I literally was like, get me out of here. I am going to throw my phone out of the window and I might go with it also. Like, genuinely, I just thought, what is the world come to?
Yeah.
And I've had a number of
the
these.
thing is, it's you, but you. The context is you sit on the consultation, which is meant to be, 15, 20 minutes. It's an hour, it's 90 minutes of this person pouring their heart out about how they're so insecure
So
and that their
desperately
body
unhappy.
shape is making them suicidal and,
Yeah.
and literally all this really deep-seated stuff. And you're like, do you know what? Don't worry about it. We can turn the ship around. We can really help you. This is how we're going to do it. A very simple game plan followed by certain procedures, flexibility, boosting your metabolic rate. Don't worry. We've got you covered. We're going to sort you out. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I can't do it because I've had my eyebrows done. Well, what plan? No, but
And then she turned it back on us and
but like,
deflected
what
that
plan-
we
and then
were
you
being
call me
difficult.
a liar and
Yes.
this and all this other nonsense, and And I'm like, what planet are you actually
But then
in?
if we go back to the consult, didn't this woman say to you how she hadn't been accepted at both Raw Gym in London, which is obviously a very bespoke, we kind of used to work in the similar areas to the Raw Gym. So they're like very bespoke PT, bespoke.
She had 6 personal trainers. Well, I
Well, I
understand
want to
why.
understand
With your
fucking why,
absolutely
because you're,
shit attitude.
you're absolutely shit attitude.
And I know the person that referred her listens to this podcast, and your mate's got a shit attitude.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean?
That's what's even worse, is it
And
came
you know
through
what?
word
We
of
got
mouth,
to say
didn't
that
it?
straight to her face. We told her, and because Georgia and I do not roll over. Don't get us wrong. Like, we don't just like
We
I'm
don't roll
so
over, we go
sorry."
back in a professional manner.
Yeah, we go back with
We've
receipts,
learned to go back with some common
receipts.
sense,
These are
yeah.
the things that you highlighted, X, Y, and Z. But anyway, we're getting into the weeds here. That, when you deflect your own problems and try and take somebody down on the way out, just understand when you look in the mirror that you're a massive disappointment to the human race.
And anyone that listens to this, just know you'll never get away with that kind of behaviour with myself and Mark, ever, because we can literally psychoanalyse you within seconds. And that's one of my fortes. If I was to have a magic power, it would be to read people's minds, because genuinely, I already know that. It's because I have legitimately worked so in depth and in context with so many different types of individuals that I know exactly what the next move is, and I'm always right. So at the end of the day, as I always said, there's no laughing involved in these matters. It's really fucking annoying. It's very stressful when people do this. It's never nice for us.
Because we work
we take it personally.
we work incredibly diligently with our clients on a consistent basis. Some would say that we have no boundaries, and that we should set boundaries with regards to just, because we literally dedicate our entire life to our business and what we do. Like, outside, like, how have you been? What have you been up to? I've been working, man. I've been micromanaging people and trying to motivate people to improve their own lifestyles. And sometimes it's an uphill battle. It's like pushing a stone uphill. Like, you're essentially trying to get things that people historically haven't wanted to do or found value in doing, and now you have to essentially coax them into a different lifestyle and get them to appreciate being in an uncomfortable environment, get them to be like, no thank you, I don't actually want to drink this weekend, or I'd rather have a grilled piece of fish than a bucket of fried chicken. Do you know what I mean?
You've just made it out like we have no life with our fucking... Nobody eats grilled fish on our
No, but I'm
plan.
just saying, like, there are logical choices and sacrifices that need to be made by people that are in precarious positions with their metabolic health. And you're just like, sometimes the process is,
I say this time and time again because when I arrived in Italy, obviously, I've never even physically seen and been around Maria, for example, who was obviously one of my clients. And obviously, I have been training exceptionally hard. I probably am in the best shape I ever have been in my whole life. And I'll be honest, I've had to say no to loads of fucking things. I've been hungry a lot of the fucking time. I've had to literally drag myself onto a walking pad in moments where I literally couldn't think of anything worse. I've trained so fucking hard, my body's felt broken at some point.
Yeah, keep going,
and
please.
the reality is I'm in really great shape at the moment, and that's because I've literally worked blood, sweat and tears to get here. And is it easy? Is it going to be easy for me to maintain? Well, I hope so, because I've built a huge amount of muscle mass in the process.
No, but I'd quite like for you to keep on elaborating on not just how you feel and how you felt and how you've continued to just.
Well, one of my best friends
messaged
messaged me and she said, "Oh my God, G, what have you been doing? You look amazing." And I thought, well, one, nobody has ever actually really seen me recently dressed up, so obviously I did make a huge amount of effort, and I did really like what I was wearing because I planned the fucking outfit, so I felt confident. But I kind of was like, my whole job is fucking lifting heavy things. Do you know what I mean? What do you think I've been fucking doing? Pilates?
Elaborate more on the slog of how you've sacrificed certain things to get to where you are.
Well, for example, how many times have we eaten out and we're both like, fuck, I really want that, but I have to have something minuscule. How many times have I had social things recently where I've had to starve myself literally all day until I've had the meal, so then I sacrifice it. I went to afternoon tea, which was just the worst, lovely meal, but the worst worst meal for like tracking. Like the buttered bread, the fucking everything. And like that was going to literally swallow my whole calorie allowance. And I literally had to starve myself until like 3 p.m. so that I could afford myself the ability of that. You might think that's so ridiculous, but it's also managing my body fat levels so I'm not a strain on the fucking NHS, okay? I have already been a strain on the NHS. I don't need to go there again, you know?
Yeah, but
and this is the other reality.
The thing is now, let me just ask you another question. Having gone through the slog that you've gone through, and you're like, oh, I feel broken, I feel hungry.
I feel great.
which essentially you have to go through if you are the leanest and the most muscular you have ever been in your entire life. So now you're going into uncharted territory. I don't understand why people don't assume that it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. But anyway, that's a side note. Having gone into that uncomfortable realm, this is the most positive feedback you've had with regards to your... I know it sounds very vain.
Oh, fuck, it's ridiculous.
But the thing is, like, you've had so much feedback. Like, people.
Do you know what the biggest thing was? Is that, okay, for context, anybody will know my grandma very much struggled, my grandparents very much struggled with me being very, very overweight. It was not a great relationship when I was, and that's enough for today. That's enough trauma today. Anyway, for my grandparents to want a photo of me printed in a frame, is quite a big fucking thing. And I got a message from my grandma saying, we would absolutely love the photos of you in Italy because you looked absolutely wonderful. And that's when I was like, okay, I must be in okay shape. Like literally, I was like, that's a sad comparison. And I'm never going to ever behave like I have completely got my shit in my brain in order.
But how do you feel having received I know it sounds incredibly
I did this for myself. I've done it entirely for myself because I fucking love lifting heavy weights.
The thing is, as soon as everyone saw Georgia, I was getting the WhatsApp saying, oh my God, she looks like a movie star. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but like also like let's be fucking dramatic, like fucking dramatic.
Yeah,
like,
but
makes
it's
me
not
cringe.
every day that you see a muscular.
Yeah,
like,
when you don't
toned,
actually, that's so don't say toned. It's
like
muscular.
I say toned in the sense of like
I want to be muscular. I don't want to be toned.
Okay, muscular. It's not very often that you see a muscular woman.
You know, you see women with like small arms, small legs, small petite, but you don't see a woman with a huge biceps. No, and I fucking hope that mine continue to grow so big that people actually question whether or not I am a woman. No, I'm joking. I need a lot of testosterone for that.
Yeah, but everyone's gonna look at me like I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, like you've got some weird fetish, haven't you, for your wife turning into...
I like you being a muscle mum, man.
I fucking love it. And for anybody that gets close to this, you fucking love it. And it's like, I don't want to compete. I'm not doing this for anything. I don't want to stand on stage in some sad hall, do you know what I mean, eating fish and rice cake and just being sad.
No, I just want to be in such good shape that when I walk into a room, I make other people feel
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
You know what, also, I just want, like, you know, I had to, like, when we were getting taxis places at the weekend, I was like, I got so annoyed one of the taxi drivers couldn't arrange the boot properly and stuff like that. I was like, right, take it all out, I'm going to move it. He's like, oh, are you okay lifting that? I was like, mate, I could literally do this and times 10. Just fucking pass me the bag. Like, literally. And obviously it's all in Italian. I'm like, yes, si, ciao, like, literally. But no, I fucking love it, and I just want more people to experience it. I don't want people to experience it in an unnatural way. I eat chocolate every day. I fucking have eaten, and I literally ate, what did I eat yesterday? Like 2 packets of crisps.
Mm-hmm.
I ate like at least 3 Kit Kats yesterday. I was on my period.
Yesterday, so you had like randoms.
Yeah, I had fucking random shit because I ate like a cunt,
Yeah.
But I was still loving life, do you know what I mean? And I just love it. Like, why shouldn't you just love the way that you fucking... Because I've worked for it. And, like, you know, when I lift heavy and I see veins popping, there's such a good feeling as long as they don't explode and I rupture something. You know, and it's not come from me being... extra masculine for all those women that think I'm fucking bulky. Do you know what? Like, you know, most women want to look great from behind. Do you know what I mean? And weight training does that. Yeah. Like, literally, most women hate themselves from behind because they don't like...
the people like Monika and her mom who train with us, we've encouraged, you know, traditional structured periodized weight training.
Her mum is so hot. And Maria is so hot. That's for you, Maria. Hot mama.
You know, everyone gets a different kind of return of investment from lifting weights, and you for you to understand what your return on investment is, you have to be able to do it and do it consistently for you to find your own kind of niche benefit.
And I also think, you've always got phases in life. Like there's certain phases in life where you can really prime yourself. And if you've got the ability to prime yourself in those years, fucking do it. Christ. Like I've chosen not to have children. I've been married, nearly 6 years. Most people would have pumped out at least 2 by now. I chose not to. I was quite young getting married. I wanted a career. I wanted to cement something, which didn't mean my whole life running via a child. And I've never wanted to push a child around in a pram. That's my own personal choice.
Unless it's a cat.
Unless it's a cat. Yes, exactly that.
I'd push the cat around.
That might fucking change. But right now I'm in my prime and I'm going to run with it. Do you know what I mean? And I want other people to see that anything's possible. I used to be a fucking creature. Do you know what I mean? I was a creature. A little alcohol guzzling, little drug fiend, little creature. Do you know what I mean? And so I've experienced what it's like to be a creature and to be the fat sister and to be the ugly one and the wonder. I've done it all. And now I'm not going to be like that. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I guess, like most people in the fitness industry, if they had undergone your personal journey, would have plastered it all over social media. And like, I feel like you do need to communicate.
Well, side note, guys, those that are listening, I know we mentioned it last. Okay, sorry, it's me again. Yeah.
Because I need to big you up. It's not only your initial weight loss journey, but the fact that you've been able to maintain it as well and not only maintain it, but consistently progress it now for numerous years.
It's a constant work in progress. Like,
because I guess
always
like when you consult with people, we speak to different people from from different countries all over the world on a daily basis, and everyone's got a successful weight loss story where they lost loads of weight, but followed very briefly after that is the initial rebound, which has left people essentially in the worst metabolic health that people have been in. Because I guess everyone after COVID, you're talking your average person, I think that we've spoken to, is about 7 kilos up to 30 to 40 kilos over COVID.
Oh, fucking COVID, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I think also people, but also we can't be using that excuse now. We just can't be using that excuse. Like, when I heard the words, oh, somebody's got COVID the other day, I was like, oh, just shut up, please. Like, honestly, I was so sorry. I was like, I know people are like, my granddad died, but I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's drained me. Like, I don't like the fact that we're going to keep on going on at this, but never talk about the damage it actually did do to like everybody, like, and also businesses and stuff like that. I've literally just seen people in the worst, throughout COVID. Yeah. And I don't want to see that again. Like, I just want to see people succeed. Like, and as I always say, if you can be that image of success, I guess it's good to run with it. But as a side note, obviously we did mention on the last, I've said on a side note like 6 times this podcast, but anyway.
Say it one more time.
I'll say it one more time. On a side note, we did mention that last podcast that we would be reviving technically our podcast Instagram page, which never really... we never really kicked off with it. We just we kind of did and then didn't, and then we were like, oh my god, this is too much to manage, and then just gave up. We're reviving it, but we're reviving it through our lifestyle, so the garlic lifestyle, or what we live on a day-to-day basis, showing more of our training, more of the life behind the podcast, the people behind the podcast, so that you guys can follow along, but also that we can share snippets of the podcast. It's been one of the hardest few months, just kind of trying to sit in, like, where does what sit where, when, what, like, how why? Because why? We are very aware, and how we built our business social media, we are very aware of how we did that, and it was based off of education, which is not a bad thing, but it has had its drawbacks. And, when we've wanted to bring more of our character out, it hasn't really felt like the right market, and we didn't really cement the right market in that audience to be speaking to, if I'm being brutally honest. My following is a little bit more relaxed. They've known me for years, do you know what I mean? But again, I kind of went out of tune of that because of just work taking over and like I guess Soak Up and then the Arrow Club previous was the main focus point. That's where I was making my money. Do you know what I mean? And the reality is I had to keep that going. And so we kind of felt ourselves in a position where, you know, the truest that I can ever be is just to be ourselves on social media, the same with you. But I've also got to play with a number of other minds, do you know what I mean, as to how we actually proceed. And we don't necessarily feel like completely comfortable or right sharing our lifestyle and stuff on our business page. We would rather take it to our podcast page, which is actually stuff that we talk about anyway on here. This is obviously such a candid conversation normally. And that's where we can start to share like more snippets in the podcast. And as I said, we're still going to be very much talking about the topics of our job, do you know what I mean? But we're also going to be just bringing a little bit more of a light-hearted touch where we just don't feel like we're always having to provide very, very highly educational information, because the best feedback and the biggest feedback we've ever had based on this is just the fact that people like listening to the conversation between us. So whether or not that comes via us talking about meta-analysis or us just talking about a shit neighbor or just life or some struggles or how you're going to get through something, do you know what I mean? We just feel like that's going to have a better standpoint for you listeners to also just understand us a little bit more. As I said, we both will happily agree and have agreed on the fact that the last couple of years we definitely have been very reserved. And we don't necessarily like that way, because we're not fucking boring, reserved people. We actually have a personality. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to splatter it onto people. Do you know what I mean? That word's horrible, splatter. But I just think it's right, especially with the podcast. You know, our podcast is one that's very much listened to frequently. And it's a place that we obviously want to continue to scale and grow. And it only feels right, this next step, in doing so. So we will have our page up and running. This Contains Garlic.
I thought we were changing.
We were going to change the name, but then I just thought, don't be ADHD and irrational. I like the name This Contains Garlic because I obviously came up with it. But
Yeah, you did.
but we did think of the real cloves of garlic. So kind of like the Real Housewives of like Miami, but like the real cloves of garlic, which kind of meant like the segments of like our life. Maybe if you are an advert listener and you want to give us feedback on that and you want to just message us, do you like the name This Contains Garlic, or do you like the name The Real Cloves of Garlic, which is obviously a take on reality TV show?
Yeah. Guilty pleasure.
I don't know. I quite like both of them. I think The Real Cloves of Garlic does segment that there's a life, do you know what I mean, going on, and there's segments of it. But then This Contains Garlic means that we're both very present, you know? It's a good surname to have because it's, you know, garlic is better with that, unless you've got IBS, do you know what I mean? And then garlic is no good for you.
Because if you think about it, every culinary cuisine in every tradition uses garlic.
And also, it's like, isn't it an antihistamine? It's you're meant to spray garlic on, like, to ward things off, aren't you? Vampires. Well, I guess it's just one of those things that life is better with garlic.
So do you want to? I feel like we should go back to talking about your wedding that you attended. Do you want to talk about like the actual proceedings?
Well, we've spoken quite a lot about the wedding. I just wanted to do a little bit of I just really wanted to speak today, just because I know Monika listens to the podcast. That just how, like, I guess this was a very big life experience and memory for both of us. Do you know what I mean? And that you know, it doesn't go. It's not ignored.
It's crazy.
To be fair, it's pretty insane, yeah. Really I just think, honestly, hand on my heart, like, it was probably the proudest I've ever been, like, being able to
really
be.
Cute.
No, wow, you sound enthusiastic.
No, it is really cute. I'm sorry, I sometimes struggle with.
I sometimes struggle.
Tone and pitch. You always say to me, "Oh, you sound very unenthusiastic," and I just struggle with, you know, the tonality of my voice to sound enthusiastic sometimes.
Yeah, I know. You just sound like you're a little bit like non-happy.
Non-happy.
Not happy.
No,
I just think it's one of those things where it.
Yeah, no, I would appreciate why you would feel really proud. It's such a. I feel like because it's from a coaching mentality, you've seen somebody really improve their, mental health, physical health.
Do you know what I see? I'll be honest with
It's,
you. Do you know what I genuinely see? I see like me, like in the sense of like the way Monica started with both emotional situations, with mental situations, in the sense of the hurdles that she had to overcome, the judgment that she faced when she was very overweight. Like I see so much resemblance of myself in my own journey in her that like I guess it makes it even more cemented, because genuinely we've overcome that, you know what I mean? And we've got so much, like the progress, not even on losing the amount of weight she has, but like the emotional and the mental side of it, to be able
I
to...
guess what also people discredit a lot is when you make changes and change as a person, it really impacts the people around you that have a preconceived notion of you being one particular individual, and in that person's reality in which they attach their own identity, they assume that, once you change as a person, their reality is then questioned. And helping a person then navigate them changing completely as an individual, and how that impacts the people around them and the perceptions of those individuals, and how that has a negative or positive impact on that person's mental health as well, is something that we help clients navigate through as well, which is can be very confronting for people as well.
I think, as I always say, it very much depends on the environment that you're brought up in. Like, I think environment is really the stimulator of anything, because, it's, so I was obviously brought up in a overweight family, you know what I mean? If anything, some people were underweight. And it was not socially acceptable to be overweight. And I think Monica was also brought up in a very similar situation, where, the judgment she faced because she wasn't like her sisters or her mum or whatever. And, you've also got to remember that there's a 5-year age gap between each sister. Okay. So technically it's a large generation gap between each one.
Literally,
And I think, growing up, Monica went to boarding school, like she was around the world, constantly moving, and for somebody like that, whose parents obviously separated when she was probably about 11 or 12, like maybe even later than that. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe it was later than that, 2010. Yeah, so, around teenage years. She was obviously in a position where, like, you start to see the effects of what your environment is doing to you. Sure. And it happens, and then you obviously, whilst you decide to, whether in some people's eyes it's abusing your health, or whether it's you comfort eating, or emotionally eating, or putting on loads of weight, that's your defense mechanism.
Sure.
Like that's your it comes back to the point of like the emotion linked towards these things and these food, like, that triggers you to do it. And I think if you end up in a situation where you're quite lonely, which was exactly where I was, the only thing you have comfort with is food and your surroundings that you can comfort your, can get that dopamine fired up, and
feel good,
and to feel good because you're not getting it from anywhere else. Sure. And then pile that on top with a huge amount of judgment, a judgment, whether that's somebody telling you you're fat or you need to do something, or why you like this, or you're unattractive, or you're ugly. This stuff stays with people for life. Like, it still stays with me. I know it still stays with Monica. In fact, I was talking to somebody at the wedding who was probably by far, in the sense of the men there, like very good looking, like, and he said to me how he's every day since his father used to call him really ugly and fat, do you know what I mean? Like, that's his motivating factor to get up and to do something. And he was like, it's not good that's my motivating factor, but that's where it started. And whether this is like maybe a blessing in disguise, maybe not for those that get massively obsessed with it.
How you channel it.
But how you channel those angry words, or those words that, no, they shouldn't deflect. But the reality is that some of these words helped me.
Yeah, but like some of those, it's like the stereotypical bodybuilders are made during breakups where, you know, somebody goes through a painful breakup and then they dedicate, do you know what I mean? It's how you channel the situation. Like
To motivate yourself,
you're
yeah.
feeling really sad, down and depressed. Someone's been mean to you. Someone's been rude to you. Some people reach for donuts. Some people reach for dumbbells.
Yeah, and you know, like I've reached for donuts, a lot of drugs. Do you know what I mean? Lots of icing, sugar, and I've done all of that. But actually, the opposite. You know, when you actually motivate yourself based off of, it's the only effect that I see that it's not positive. Okay. Now you're talking to somebody that was bullied at school, began binge eating, hiding food, like because of that. The only thing I think it doesn't help is when you become the situation like I am today, position I'm in today, and maybe until I felt as confident as I have maybe recently in myself, you are constantly in your head thinking what other people are thinking that you look like. And because you have been such a prominent image of maybe taking up a lot of space, being like the elephant in the room, like they always used to say, you know what I mean? That you're so conscious because people have picked up on what you've looked like then, that now every single time that you see those people again, it's all they're thinking about. That's what's going through your head. Am I dressed correctly? Can they see enough? You know what I mean? Do I look like I've put on weight? Is this something they're going to be thinking in their head? Do I look like I'm socially acceptable for these people, just in case that they think I've ever gone backwards? And that's when it becomes very negative. And would say that I struggle with the most is feeling comfortable around those that used to judge me the most. And I will still say to this day, I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Even if you're, even though now you're fucking skittish.
I still think there's more that I can do to make people just not question me at all.
Jesus. Yeah, you just
It's fucked, and but I can see this.
Just like,
but it's ill. That can be an ill mentality, and I know I'm not dumb. Like I can see why. That's my biggest downfall.
Mental.
That is my biggest downfall. Is I don't know what somebody's thinking, which I will never know. Do you know what I mean? When they first look at me, do I look like?
Do you not think that sometimes? I think obviously being a woman's very different, but sometimes people are so not narcissistic, but so entwined in their own life, and so not as self-absorbed, but
well, you'd think so, but it's not enough.
They don't even.
Well, you think that until you're overweight, and then suddenly it comes out their mouth. Do you know what I mean? Then you're like, oh, I didn't realise you were like that. I thought you were really fucking self-obsessed and unaware. But then that's what I mean. If it's happened and somebody said it, then you're always going to think, no, I don't agree that people are not too.
I guess people can also like fat shame or put people down when it's just like an easy win. Do you know what I mean? Just
oh my God, that happened to me so much. It was just like the easiest thing.
Yeah,
like my family used to do that. It's just like
you know what I mean? When someone's like, two people are roasting each other, and then like the other person can't think of anything, they're like, oh you're fat. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like the easiest, lowest common blow that people know, essentially, because people that are fat know they're fat. Do you know what I mean? And there's the societal perception that fat people are lazy, and there's a lot of
which I don't agree with. No. I just agree with. I feel like our receptors in our chemical balance in our brain has been manipulated due to the accessibility of food and the change in environment over the years. That's the only thing I can put it down to. Like, because it doesn't make any other logical sense why it's progressed and people have got effectively fatter or more obese. But yet, this is why it frustrates me that everyone hedges their bets on exercise, do you know what I mean, as well. Like, do you know how many times, just go for your steps, but it's not teaching them that they can still go for their steps, but annihilate any kind of energy, do you know what I mean, by what they're putting in their mouth. I was talking to a girl that I became really good friends with at the wedding. She was actually vegan, but she was a proper vegan because she actually knew how to cook for herself as a vegan. Now, I say this because as the nutritional side of things, the biggest lack I see when people choose these lifestyles of being more plant-based or being vegan is they don't actually know how to put together a vegan or plant-based meal in any way, shape
Yeah.
or form. So they're like, oh, there's some pasta and there's some vegan pesto, that will do. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, let's have some processed vegan soy mince. Do you know what I mean? And they don't know actually, how can I put together a meal that's going to give me adequate amount of protein, you know what I mean, and fuel me without just eating vegan chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about this, and we were just saying like how people have no understanding these days of how to actually cook for themselves, like how to even put together a meal. And it goes back to this sort of like your environment and your, people are just not willing to learn these days, or parents are not put willingly, or they don't know themselves, passing it on. Like, I know there's certain elements of like cultural stuff where, I come from a Jewish side, which naturally speaking has got more culinary skills, because it's meant that the wives and the grandmas and the mums and stuff like teach the children. Statistically speaking, women wouldn't necessarily go for work. They'd be the baby provider, So I was always taught how to make beautiful food, like how to like feed yourself properly, which in a way, like, did I abuse that? Yeah, of course I did. I was morbidly overweight. But, that's what I see people lacking in these days is the fact that it's not only their environment and the chemical reception, is the fact that we don't know how to look after ourselves, or we're just idle. I don't know. Are we idle?
It's the capitalism has identified a way of extracting finances from the general population, and it comes in the form of convenience.
And pharmaceuticals.
When things are so convenient for you, you've woken up, you probably most people don't like to eat breakfast. They go throughout the day, they work, they commute, they go through their life in their job, they try and have a social life, they come home. They want an easy microwave meal. They want a takeaway. They want things that are simple, and there's a barrier or a misconception which we always seem to discredit, that the vast majority of people think that like when they need to lose weight, they need to like cook chicken breasts and boil rice and. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of a mixture.
But I do think meal planning at the start is so beneficial. If you don't understand, like, you should fucking stick to a meal plan.
It's just so convenient
because not for the rigid
to eat really calorie dense food, that is cooked for taste, not necessarily for.
But also, can I just interrupt you based off what you said about a lot of people don't eat breakfast?
Okay.
This is probably the biggest thing that I probably get spoken to about when somebody's signed up or needs, you know what I mean? It's, I don't eat breakfast, is that going to be a problem? It's not a problem in any shape or form, do you know what I mean? But when people say I don't eat breakfast, and then it will slide out at some point that they have a croissant on the way to work, do you know what I mean? But they classify breakfast as like eggs or something. They don't classify wolfing down a pastry as breakfast, But what I see it as breakfast is there are positions, they do, fuck. Like, I haven't eaten breakfast, but at 11 I wolfed down a pastry. Well, that's still fucking food, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it's breaking the fast at 7 a.m. or breaking the fast at fucking...
Sorry, I've just said 1,200 calories. It's a snack, but it's not breakfast.
Yeah, but people forget. I've just had a prep fucking croissant, double chocolate twist roll. I'd love one of those as well, right in my mouth right now.
Yeah, I just like...
But they don't realise that that's like 400 calories.
Yeah, we're getting sidetracked.
No, but my point is that, that I actually think for somebody starting nutritional habits, it's actually the biggest thing would just be getting the structure of the timing and what you eat. It doesn't have any correlation of weight loss, but what I'm trying to say is trying to get that structured time when you eat, where you are not distracted and reaching for convenience. So the biggest thing is, okay, well, if I have an hour in the morning or 45 minutes in the morning, what's more important for me to sit down and enjoy 20 minutes having breakfast, you know what I mean, and being that just a little bit more proactive or organized the evening before to know that I'm ready for work, Or going into work, you haven't even had any water, you've knocked back at least a latte and a fucking espresso, do you know what I mean? Hoping that something's in. Turn up to the office, you're unenergised. Oh fuck, Stephen's gone and got the pastries.
Yeah.
You've wolfed down a pastry. Oh, I haven't even eaten breakfast. I don't understand why I've put on weight. Like, do you know what I mean? And literally, this is it, because people ignore it. They've had the latte, coconut latte from Pretz.
Or you don't eat that, and then you wait, and then you've essentially fasted 19 hours.
Or even...
And then you're absolutely ravenous to the point where any form of nutritional decisions go out the window because you just want something tasty.
And then you eat your meal deal, do you know what I mean? You eat your sandwich or some poxy thing that's got nothing and out of protein in, do you know what I mean? You're hungry again, Sandra's got the biscuits out, reach for the biscuits, and then you wonder why.
So many people, and people ask us, well, why do you get your clients to track their calories and macros at the beginning of their body transformation? And the simple reason is most people have zero understanding of actually how much food that they eat on a day-to-day basis. So what they did was they then did a nutritional study where they took hundreds of thousands of people and they asked them to try and write down a food diary of what they've consumed compared to the actual consumption of food on a day-to-day basis with observation. And they realized that people on average underestimate their calorie intake by 1,500 to 2,500 calories per day.
And it is so easy.
Like you said, like all of it, you've gone in, you've had a frappuccino.
No, don't go extreme.
No, I'm just.
It's a latte and a croissant.
A latte and a croissant, and by the time 10 a.m. rolls around, you forgot you even had 1,200 calories. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's an exaggeration. I don't like you exaggerating because a croissant's about 400, a latte could be up to 300. So you've knocked back 700 calories without even thinking, in the sense of, and it's very easy to forget that.
Yeah.
Like when I don't eat properly or I have a day of sporadicity, you're like, oh my God, I've literally just eaten all my calories in rice cakes. Okay. Like you're like, I don't understand, like flavoured rice cakes, picking up snacks, this one, and you're like, oh fuck, I've eaten like nothing.
Peanut butter, little.
I don't eat that, Mark.
But I'm just saying, other people do.
But they don't eat, Mark. I'm talking on a day-to-day basis of a normal person going to work, sorting their shit out. You've got the vending machine at work. You've got the fucking cafe downstairs. You've got Pret on the way.
Or you've got what does one of our clients have right in front of a desk? Like a
pick and mix.
A pick and mix.
Yeah, what the fuck? What office does that? Like, that's horrendous.
We want you to be super productive, so we're just
going to fuel you with just loads of shit, fucking sweets. But but this is the thing. You want a more productive workforce. I will just all inject you with some fucking Ozempic and just hope for the best that you're all like here with zero muscle mass, sucking on pick and mix for energy.
Wait, none of you can actually come to work because you're all crippled with back pain.
That's
we're just
actually the reality.
From home so you can We're eventually moving more and more. Do you remember that Disney program WALL-E?
What?
Where all the Disney one, where WALL-E.
What? I think that was an African Disney one.
No, it's like one of the most.
Oh, sorry, just because I don't know, it's one of the most successful Disney fucking what?
Yeah, it is. Where it depicts people in the future. Everyone's like morbidly obese, floating horizontally with screens in front of their face, and nobody.
Well, have you not seen the remote worker image that they pumped out by AI?
Yeah.
It's like some woman that's overweight, like bags under her eyes, rounded shoulders, hunched over. It's so not far away.
On a day-to-day basis, where the sedentary lifestyle is having a reductive impact on people's body.
Yeah, and if you're doing something about it, good fucking for you.
Yeah.
Well done. Keep up at it. If you've got the availability, always make use of it. Don't fucking feel sorry for yourself in situations where you can actually control it. Like, at the end of the day, I sit
People
here
have literally got no excuse, because now if you've got the financial availability, you can get a personal trainer, or if you don't, there are online variations that are cost effective. People have literally no excuse to outsource their health and nutrition.
You don't even need to outsource it for some people. You could even go on the internet and teach yourself. Like, the thing is though, if you train your brain, like everybody knows, okay, Probably for breakfast, you shouldn't go to the freezer and open up a tub of ice cream and eat bread. You eat ice cream, bad. You eat bad ice cream at breakfast. No, you should have eggs and toast. Yes, well done. Do you know what I mean? That's how your brain works. It's like a dog. Do you know what I mean? You train your fucking brain like a dog. The reality is that like, fuck, are you unaware when you've driven through fucking the drive-through at McDonald's that you're there? Are you blind? I don't know. Like, maybe you've struggled to even get there. Maybe you've had a fit on the highway and it's pulled you into the fucking drive-through, conveniently speaking into the microphone. The same with when the 3 for 2 Kit Kats that scream at you at Tesco's, do you know what I mean? Which they are prominently there. Or when you've gone into the petrol station, do you know what I mean? And just thought you'd grab a quick snack, which is another fucking 800 calories down. And whilst you drive, going somewhere for another meal. Like, the reality is that you've had full control over absolutely everything. I used to have full control when I ordered enough Domino's for a family of 6. Do you know what I mean? I used to eat it all.
But people will make the excuse that they don't have time, or will project whatever shortcomings onto just an
Do you know how hard
excuse.
exercise is when you're fucking morbidly overweight? I don't care what people say. Oh God, that's so cancel culture. Oh, I can't say that somebody's overweight. Well, I'll tell you what it feels like. It's like death. Do you know what I mean? When you've got a personal trainer and you're fucking, well, I was 70 kilos heavier than where I am now. Do you know what I mean? You're lugging that around, being forced to fucking run somewhere, get on the floor, get back up. What? Sorry? And then I'm going to make that harder for myself. Do you know what I mean? Oh no, I'll just... What the fuck? Do you know what I mean? There is no sympathy from me any longer because I am sympathetic to those that are willing to commit, that need to go up.
I'm telling
over their hurdles and progress.
Everybody, guys.
Fuck everybody, drop the mic. Don't drop the mic.
Georgia has turned over a new leaf. I feel like.
No, I haven't. I just see, do you know what? I'll come back to Monika. I see this beautiful girl who's transformed her fucking life, who I have massively and utterly supported the whole way through her transformation. I see the image clear as fucking day in front of me, and then I see a load of people making fucking excuses. And it's really hard to be like, wait, we're all the fucking same, are we? I don't think so. There's people that willingly dedicate and invest into their fucking health and well-being, and literally make it part of their routine, and there's people that don't. But then don't try, okay, and give me any bit of fucking shit when you are unwilling to and fully capable of doing so. It's not like people are sat here, not everybody is crippled, unable to walk with back pain. There's enough of them, do you know what I mean? But you know, if you've got the ability of all your limbs, do you know what I mean, your health is intact, what are you fucking doing exactly? Like, at what point do you think this is going to get any better if you don't address something, or that you physically think you're unable to achieve something? The reality is you are. You can achieve it. And I know this fucks people off. They're like, oh my God, please stop saying this. It's hurting me. Yes, because it's hitting home.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
Fits, then you got to wear it.
I see it happen on a day-to-day basis of people transforming their whole life, loving it. We see it daily. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating.
I think we
it's
also
what we
need
live.
to acknowledge the fact that with not all weight loss is positive weight loss, but in the vast majority of the statistical probability, people generally, and having been in the industry, when people lose weight, they generally feel more confident, and it has a lot of positive benefits to other aspects of their life.
So
and
that's
I
why
feel like we've gotten to the point where saying if you lose weight you'll feel happy, people are like,
I don't think I will. It's like, well, you won't know, would you? Because you're not.
It's like, well, okay, well then I must be undergoing a different shift in reality, because all the people that have been really overweight and we've helped them lose weight and keep it off have had drastically positive impacts on their life.
The only thing is that, like, I don't necessarily agree, like, and I've never agreed with this, that, like, going through a weight loss journey where you don't work on your mindset is probably a bit shortfall, because you can still live in the brain of being somebody very overweight when you're much, much smaller, and that can play on your mind. Like I said, there's downfalls on the mindset side, but in the sense of the actual weight loss, you don't know shit until you've done it. And so there's lots of people going, oh, I'm not going to start because just in case. just in case, do you know what I mean, that I might have that moment in 3 months' time.
I'm sorry,
I'm just not gonna do anything.
I can't change my life around because I have to have my eyebrows microbladed. It has to be the shittest excuse
that we have ever,
probably
ever worked with.
Yeah, that has been
probably.
the shittest excuse. But again, it represented the woman's personality, which was shit.
Fuck me. And if anybody else works in the service industry, you also know you're going to come across it.
We also said you do have a very shit person, not a shit.
No, we didn't say that. We said it in professional terms, Mark. You probably typed into ChatGPT and hoped for the best.
No, I typed it in, and then you probably said
yeah, you can't unlock your potential now because you're a shit person.
I type a lot of things, and then I show George, and she's like, "You can't."
No, I'm like, we never use it because it's just too fucking
You can't say that.
No, you can't use that. Like, you're not a lawyer. But no, I just, there's so much potential in everybody. And I think this whole podcast, what I'm trying to say is that there's so much potential to live this life that you've always dreamt of. Like, go back to Monika. This is something that she's always wanted. She wanted to feel in control, happy and healthy. And that was what looked good on her. Do you know what I mean? What she wanted to achieve. And to go through these life-changing moments and transformations, and then to stand and see someone standing there, walking down the aisle to marry somebody and to be part of that. Yes, it's totally put into context in my fucking brain. 150% that anything is fucking doable. Do you know what I mean? You need the right support, the right guidance to get you there, but anything is possible if you're sat at that start position. But it's also opened up my eyes for I don't have time for people telling me or giving me a bunch of shit excuses or deflecting their own problems onto an amazing service like ours. We've all got our flaws, do not get me wrong. I'm not pumping, but I know for God fucking sake, and I see it every day, and I am very lucky to see this because that we change people's lives for the absolute better. Always on a day-to-day basis, and I don't think anybody can tell us otherwise. And if you're sat there and you think, I'm not going to do it, I'm just not going to do it, well, that is your own problem. But don't feel like you need sympathy from somebody when you haven't actioned or you haven't stepped forward even over the start line. You've got to realise, like what I said halfway through this, like to be in a leaner position, to be in a muscular position, there's been times where I've had to say no to the ciabatta bread. Do you know what I mean? I've had to say no to going and fucking divulging in some gelato ice cream. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, in the time you're like, I'm so sad. But when the results are there, do you know what I mean? And you feel great and you feel confident and you actually feel like I can stand proud, that's when you're going to see the result. The result might not be there and then when you've got to say no to the fucking, But as I always say, it's delayed gratification, and it's something you've got to work towards. And, in any journey of any growth, you've got to be uncomfortable at points. And again, referring back to our client Monika, because this was there's been plenty of times of this journey that's been very uncomfortable for her, but we've picked up, we've got a game plan, and we've stepped forward every single week to make sure that it was heading in the right direction. It's not to say that this was swimmingly well for fucking 5. She's had huge amounts of
niggles. She's travelled. She's done.
No, we're not even talking about that. So generic. I'm talking about the emotional shit. Do you know what I mean?
And from a physical standpoint, like you said, it hasn't been plain sailing. So, and she's remained incredibly consistent.
So, look, if there's anything that you take away from this is that anything's possible. You just got to make sure you put your mind to it and actually realise that some things are going to be hard. And hard is good.
You're new.
Oh, Mark, shut up. I've always been like this. It's just sometimes in moments of life, they just remind you.
Your new outlook on life is very motivating.
Well, no, it's just an outlook that I just feel like should be said because I'm never going to stay quiet. I've been in a situation, I'm entitled to say what I feel because I've experienced on both sides, and I've seen it. I see it clear as fucking day. People literally transforming their lives, loving their life, and I don't understand, those that are just unwilling to do things and then just mope about over it. And no, that's not me telling you you're fucking lazy, you do nothing all day. Not in any way, shape, or form. But
It
again,
must be very draining to not apply yourself and then consistently moan about it.
well, that's what I said to my hairdresser when she said, well, isn't it very expensive though? I said, well, how much do you weigh up literally thinking every single day about it? Like, you've just told me that 24/7 a day, you think about what you look like, how you feel, that you feel unhealthy, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, how much is that worth? And she's like, she couldn't even say, she was like, that's very true. And that's enough to say, it's worth as much as you want to value it, you know, and this is the thing. For some, that's a lot.
So true. It is. Ask yourself that question, like, how much is it worth?
This isn't fucking cost. At the end of the day, money comes and goes. That's the reality. Some people earn more, some people earn less. But how much is it worth? Is it worth complete clarity and control, or is it not worth that? And if it's not worth that, then don't get a coach.
You know,
I just, you okay there, Mark? You're having a
so
moment
I'm
of
just
epiphany.
containing myself before going out on an explosive rant.
You're about to bring up something. I know you are.
I don't need to bring it up.
But no, let's. So this podcast was for you, Monika. Yeah, probably the proudest moment of our careers, and I wanted to express that. Onwards and upwards. I know Monica's coming back to a very good strength program that we're going to get into when she is back the end of this week. I hope that this just gave you a little bit of insight of how we help people.
I really missed you as well.
Oh, did you, Mark?
Georgia was so nice on text.
Yeah, so nice to Mark. I was like, I missed you so much.
Oh my God.
And then I got home and I was like, can you fuck off, Mark?
Has somebody abducted my wife?
No, Mark, you were like, this is too long now. We've been apart. You fucking started that shite.
We were really nice to each other. And then
but then we were around each other and it's sometimes a bit too much when you haven't brushed your teeth.
And George is just like, rah, rah, rah. I was like, it's good to have you back. Telling me.
It was like, Mark, get off from the toilet, Mark. We've got to go somewhere, Mark. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
just
fuck.
So quiet.
Okay, well, how about you go and get a job in like the army or something?
In the Arctic.
No, go and join the army and you'll be away for months on end and then we can have this really romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And you come back and then we can just argue for like 6 months and then you go away.
I think I'm a bit too old for the army.
I don't think you'd be one of the... Well, maybe. No, like not for an
the
entry-level army,
Isn't it?
I don't know. I think you're making shit up because you don't know. So let's not just spurt out numbers, shall we? Because you think there's 48 weeks in a year, but
there's 52.
Okay, well done.
But
Because
I was taking into consideration people taking time off.
The 28 days of holiday.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
No, I do think.
And take into consideration bank holidays.
Well, we're going away soon. I need to tell our clients that. Just say on a podcast. Hope that's enough for you all. No, we're going away for a week. Which I can't wait. We're going to the Caribbean. It's going to be wonderful. And I plan on sunbathing and trying to have some... And reading. That's one thing I did do some of when I was travelling was reading, which I just absolutely love doing, but I just never have any self-discipline in doing so. So I've set myself the target.
Well, when you have some of our children, they text you at 4:30 in the morning all the way up to...
11:30 at night.
11:30 at night, 12:30 at night. It's very difficult to switch off when, you know...
Yeah, those boundaries will come in soon. We have been told we need to work on our boundaries, so the boundaries will soon
Two people pleasers working in a business.
Together is like the worst combination. Who's going to be the cunt first is the question.
Yeah, good
like,
cop, bad cop.
Yeah, like that's so true. Like two people pleasers in a business. That's so true. Well, we've learnt that. That's our own therapy to work through, isn't it?
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with people pleasers, but it's just how you work around it without giving too much.
It's nice
energy.
If you're a people pleaser and you work with somebody who appreciates and values it and actions it, then it's a very potent synergy. When you're a people pleaser and you try and help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves, it becomes the most soul-destroying process for us, because we're trying to please the individual who then doesn't want to take the advice of the person trying to please them. And
I don't like that, because we're trying to coach them, but we try to please. We try to always do good.
We're trying to please
obviously.
You in the sense of getting you.
Mark,
to
for fuck's
see
sake, I'm not that
results.
emotionally fucking connected.
No,
I'm just a bit of a
I'm just
people pleaser.
saying.
I struggle saying no. I struggle saying to people like, hey, can you do this for me? I've never liked asking people for help. It's just been the case. Do you know what I mean? That's just me. I don't fucking suck on the teats of my clients.
No,
Never
I'm not
will I.
saying
Do you
that.
know what I
I'm
mean?
saying we're trying to please them in the grand sense of the reason why they're really unhappy is the fact that they haven't seen progress, and we will
We're trying to,
please them in
yeah.
quotation marks by helping them turn their life around. But it becomes a very soul destroying and energy vampire kind of position when you're literally banging your head up against the wall trying to get people to implement things, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, but I think we've taken the approach now where like clients know that when you contact us, do you know what I mean? You we'll get back to you 100%. We're trustworthy. We're probably the most trustworthy. Hence why like a million Brazilian people have asked us to take over their businesses and run them. We are trustworthy. We're reliable, and those are we will always and utmost try and keep our business looking the best it possibly can do for us. Like it's our livelihoods at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? That we really want to make as enjoyable as possible in some way or another. But there has to be a line where, if people don't get in contact with you or they don't have the help or they're not willing to commit, then that's not our responsibility.
No, true.
And we've just had to do a lot of learning on that. It's not our responsibility that you're a child over this. Do you know what I mean? And children get put in creches and adults grow. So,
but it's weird. It boggles my mind where words come out your mouth that are completely contradictory to your actions. It's just like how, or like,
oh, Mark, that's the biggest step towards never being self-aware.
yeah, I know, but it's just it's just such a very.
There are plenty of like narcissists in this world, and fucking the list
but the amount
goes
of
on.
people that sit and cry during a consultation, and then literally 24 hours later are like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh God, I've just gone on booze, like fucking
yeah,
whatever.
do you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
one of
but
those
to be honest
things,
with you, I
it's
always say like, this happens probably for us. Probably, do you say 1 in 10?
No, I'd say 1 in 30.
30. You think 1 in 30 it happens?
Yeah, just people with no manners.
People with no manners. Oh, fuck me. Just don't ever think that you're welcome if you've got no manners. And if you actually, if you've got manners or not. You should know if you've got manners. Like I was brought up with manners. So was Mark. Do you know what I mean? We're brought up in very strict little households with manners. It's represented some parts of my life, not so much. But, but don't ever think if you've got no manners, you're just so not welcome. I just think adults that have no manners, like Christ, please don't reproduce. That's all I say, because your children are going to pick up on that. And then we're going to be breeding little shit people into the world, which is, we should have children, Mark, so we can breed some mannered children into this, well-mannered children into this world.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason I'll be having a baby. Or to dress it up. No, I probably wouldn't dress the child. The child would be in a tracksuit.
Maybe the child would be a sports star.
Do you think that we've got the genetics to
I think we've got
produce
good genetics.
for what though? Like shot put or something?
Yeah, shot put.
I know, but then it's some really like unattractive.
Basketball.
Mark, for fuck's sake, you're 6 foot.
Yeah, but you're also very tall, so
Mark, I'm
generally
5'8".
genetics are. Yeah,
Babes, there's no 7 foot in this family.
No, yeah, but
Babes,
it doesn't necessarily.
Your mum
mean,
is so small. There is no 7 foot in our family.
Yeah, but it doesn't. There have been
basketball.
elements of my family where some of the children are 6'8" and their parents were 5'8", 6'7".
I guess actually your family. Who's that one,
They're
Caroline?
random,
Who's she
yeah,
married
she's
to?
got
Is she blood to
giant
you?
Children.
Is she blood to you?
She's Auntie James.
But wasn't the husband really tall?
He wasn't that tall. He was 6 foot.
Oh yeah, he's very tall actually. He's a basketball star.
Yeah, and the other brothers also a basketball star, and they're all 6'5", 6'6".
I wouldn't want to be like a PB mum. Like I wouldn't take all of their earnings and stuff, and like maybe I would. Like, yeah, sign them like Britney Spears.
Especially if they're footballers.
Like a football, yeah. But if they had
cracker,
potential, I would always encourage that. I'd encourage the children to be in the gym
Yeah,
from
of
literally the
course.
get-go, not from like some weird, like just want them to be physically strong and capable. Like I don't want, like I used to get bullied so bad I could never stand up for myself, not physically stand up for myself, but I never want I feel like the gym brings so much confidence in people and how they deal with situations and how they keep themselves composed throughout things, that I think that's something a child needs to learn. And
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
No,
that's why I'd
I
always bring
think
up a
we'd be
child.
very supportive individuals with regards to.
I think I'd be quite strict. I
I
say I
don't
wouldn't be.
wouldn't necessarily push on the whole, you need to learn how to play a piano type thing unless they were that way inclined. Do you know
No,
what I mean?
that's just a load of expense we don't need, Mark. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? My
I
sister
mean,
requested to play the harp for like 9
would you
years. My
make
mum
your
and dad had to get a
child
new
be
car.
bilingual, even though you're not bilingual?
No, 100%. And as I left the wedding, I just thought, you fucking dumb little British person. You're so lazy that you're English and you wait for everybody
Yeah,
to
well,
speak
it's just
English,
it's your heritage, though. You
No, but
guys,
I should learn. We should learn
you
another
guys
language.
like to just, take over countries, enslave
But
people.
no language teachers in the UK are actually like
rape
born and bred
pillage
Spanish,
societies and just speak English.
But again, like I think it's so lazy. It's like, you speak English? Like, hello, sorry, English. You just sound like you sound
But it is
so
the most
dumb.
popular language in the world, right?
Yes, but again, it makes us lazy. We should be bilingual. Do you know how intelligent? Like, I was literally listening to people come out of 4 different languages
to be
at
fair,
the wedding.
Monica speaks like 9.
Five languages Monica speaks.
Which is ridiculous.
Ridiculous, and all really well. Like, really well.
fluent.
Like, ridiculously well. And then they're going in and out of Italian and English and Spanish and English, and then you've got like the Swiss and the German side, and you're like, oh my God.
You should have just done. Just fucking jumped right onto the ground and just done 20, 30 push-ups, chest all the way down, chest to floor.
I did make that joke to
And
one of the
then
wedding
nobody
guests.
would have been able to do that. And then you would have been like, you're
He
bilingual,
said
but
to
you're
me,
fucking
he said,
weak.
what's your party trick? I said, why don't you get down and do 30 and so will I? And he was like, are you being serious? I was like, yeah, that's my fucking job. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, I was like, I will smash you in the chest to fucking push out. He was like, I will if you can. I was like, don't even tempt me. I'm in a silk dress right now. Fucking, no. But it's not that. I would love to speak another language. I'd love to
If you could speak another language, what would it be?
like maybe something that people really couldn't understand, like Russian, or like, because if you're not Russian, you understand nothing. Like Italian, you can start to like same with Spanish, you can start to slightly pick up, like same with French, like vague terms that vaguely mean the same, like certain things.
Yeah.
Because one of Monica's best friends, he was not Italian speaking, but Spanish, Mexicans, and he could still understand like Italian because it's like, I guess it's not similar in any way, but it's got variations that are the same. But I just thought to myself, how cool would it be to think in 2 brains like that? Like, isn't your brain just so much more intelligent if you can speak like 2 different languages? Am I wrong?
I think
like
your
fluently.
overall neuroplasticity would be far greater.
Like
You
your
being
IQ must be like
bilingual.
really high.
The same as if you're also ambidextrous and utilize your right and your left hand for writing, throwing. Same with kicking, left, right leg.
You've got to be very intelligent to speak 2 languages, like 2, 3, 4, 5 languages, like fluently, and to be able to switch in with them without being or saying the wrong
word.
word.
Even comprehend what that would be like.
I can't even think in a British.
English, let alone.
Like, do you overthink in certain different languages? Like, do my overthinking brain, is it in
Do you think
Spanish?
when
If I
Monika
can
gets
think.
angry, she thinks in German?
Well, who?
Do you think when she gets angry, she thinks in German?
Who?
Monica.
No, it would be Swiss if it wouldn't be Germans. It would be German Swiss. Well, no, I think that's also that interesting thing is, what do you initially think in? Because technically, hers would probably be Spanish or maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask her.
I think I asked her and she said German.
Well, like her mum's like Mexican, so it would be.
Where she lives is German speaking. Swiss German.
Yeah, Swiss German, yeah, it's not full German.
And then where her sister lives is Italian Swiss.
Italian Swiss, yeah. But I think with Maria would, because she's through and through Mexican.
German. She also speaks German.
No, but she would be thinking in Spanish.
Though,
she would think in Spanish.
When you speak, like I've been on a training session where she's spoken 4 different languages in one session.
Oh no, it's just
she
like
picks up the phone and like just barking down the phone in German. Then it's French. Then Italian.
Yeah, they can speak so many languages.
But it's interesting watching a person relay because it's different facial expressions, different mannerisms, different body language, different hand gestures.
Yeah, you never know because like some people get very passionate.
It's almost
about
like
certain
watching
things.
a different person at any given moment. Like there's a difference between Italian Maria and German Maria, and do you know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
like I'd say probably German Maria is probably work Maria, and
And
then
then
she's got like Spanish.
then Spanish Maria's like,
But the
do you know what I
brain you
mean?
thinking would be like Spanish. I think Maria's would be
Yeah,
Spanish.
Maria's
Like
would definitely
I'm
be
sure, like I'm
Spanish.
sure if I learned multiple different languages, and I was bilingual, I'd probably think in English.
Yeah, do you want to touch on the Mexicans bringing out aliens quickly?
Oh God, no, Mark. Mark showed me this. It's such a fucking
Do you
fad.
think so?
Like, Mark, babes, you can't just come out with a paper mache model of a preserved alien and then think that that's actually legitimate. Like, that's what I said to Mark. Like, we would have created
I'm
that at
so
school.
desperate
It looked like
to,
two aliens in paper mache in
yeah,
a
I'm so
coffin.
desperate to believe.
So technically, the Mexicans have come out and said that they've been preserving what?
No, they found on an archaeological dig two preserved remains of aliens or extraterrestrial beings, which they've carbon dated to be around 1,000 years old.
That oh Christ. I don't believe it. I just think you could make a model so easily of an alien preserved.
Yeah, but they've also released the DNA evidence and MRI scans.
What do you mean the
150
DNA? And how do you know that there's not a bias
gigabytes.
behind this?
No, that's why they put it out.
I
for
am
the
so
general
for it. We live on a
population
fucking
to-
planet. Let's all not forget this. Right now, guys, we're in space. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
think about this. They've just discovered that inside the Earth, there's a very spongy layer of the Earth that contains 3 times the amount of water than it does on its surface. Think
What?
about that for a second. There's 3 times the amount of water inside the Earth in an underground ocean that has got 3 times as much water than is on the Earth currently.
Well, I know who would have found out about that. That would have been the Titanic submarine people.
Yeah,
They would have
the
found
hard way.
out about that fucking underwater. What a stupid idea.
Yeah, the hard way.
What a stupid idea.
But if you think about how much water is currently on the planet, considering the vast majority of this planet is water, there's 3 times as much water inside the Earth.
Well, I saw this really cool thing in Italy because I was in Lake Garda. They had like apparently the lake air preserves the paint on the wall, and there was these 4. I need to show you the photo actually.
Yeah, go
There was
on.
these 4 like I think it was religious because it was on the side of a church, like 4 little paintings of like men or whatever, like religious men, where you could see the vague outline of them still, and that was still the same paint that had been used like fucking
No,
thousands of years ago. Yeah.
1200 AD.
It was quite cool though. It was very cool.
I like
to see.
history. I love it.
I do like history, but I don't know if that whole alien. I do think there has to be
But
aliens.
no,
Whereas
so no,
I
but
don't believe anything just
but
comes
why
out
are
of the
now-
blue.
But why are governments, the Americans have done it, the Mexicans have now done it, they've all come out and they've said that they are experiencing unknown flying objects that are... The reason why they bring it to everyone's attention is because it's a air traffic safety hazard for both military and civil personnel, because they've been collecting first-hand data and video images from pilots across the world that are filming these orbs that are displaying...
I'm not against. I don't. I think there is like that. Like I don't. But I physically don't believe. Like I also don't believe. I think we've got a maximum capacity
Yeah.
of new human brains that can actually and bodies that can actually be born before we actually all start forming into one another. I don't believe you can form 8 billion different humans. I don't. It sounds bizarre. I feel like there's got to be some DNAs that are not in family, like replicated. And that's why they say that there is a doppelganger of you somewhere. I don't believe we have 8 billion separate individuals whose DNA are all completely different.
How fucked up would that be? One day you just walk and you just see somebody that
Like a
looks
whole room of you.
exactly like you.
What about a whole room of you? That would be the fucking weirdest thing. Oh
Yeah.
God, talk about self-analysis and fucking judging yourself. That would be Jesus.
Well, all different shapes and sizes, or exactly the same?
No, just like
shapes?
exactly you, but just there, even wearing the same.
What a bunch of fucking sick cunts.
What a bunch of what's up,
Who
guys?
wants to go
Yeah.
and get a training session and boys?
Yeah, like, literally, let's go and fucking muscle mummy this shit up. Mark said to me, if we get invited to a Halloween party, what would I go as? And I said, a muscle mummy.
What would you wear though?
Like mummy things with muscles.
Oh, maybe I'll be a baby.
Okay, Mark, that's unleashed a new fetish again for something I didn't realise that you wanted to be wrapped up like a baby. Whilst you...
Mama
Okay,
on the
Mark,
titty.
on the titty. Sucking on the
Suck on
titty.
the titty.
Mark, fuck off, honestly. Men that suck on their women's breasts.
For milk.
For milk. Yeah, I think you're like that. For milk.
Another person, another group of individuals that need to be on a list.
Yeah, that need to be on a list. The milk titty group, yeah. Over the age of like 5, I'd say.
I think 5 is even.
5 is too much, but I know parents that have breastfed their children till like...
Have they really?
Yes. Like 4 or 5. Really? In fact, we knew somebody that did. Fuck, what was the name? I can't say it on the podcast. No, I don't think that's... Anyway, but muscle mummy. I'll go as a muscle mummy.
Yeah, that would be a good one. But...
you can go as an Egyptian if you want.
Yeah, I'd go as an Egyptian. That would be a good one. That's a very good...
Do you have an Egyptian kind of esque like status, or would you want to go as something that was like...
Maybe I'll go as a Zulu warrior.
Oh, for God's sake. Of course you'll go as a warrior, do you know what I mean?
With a spear.
Or hopefully your
and a
lovely shield tattoo will...
Yeah, my African-themed chest piece.
It's chest piece, yeah. You need to actually reassess that other side. Anyway, what a good podcast today.
Yeah,
Talking
well
about
done.
memories.
Well done, Monika.
Oh, God, thanks, Monika, for being the topic of our podcast.
Yeah.
But no, I hope I gave you a nice little insight as to what goes on in the garlic life. And
till next time.
To Monika and a long, happy marriage.
Yeah, cheers.
Speak to you later.
Bye.
Bye.